you are. This is Basecamp Denver. My name is Lizelle. I am the founder and CEO of Women Who Start Up. Please give a warm Basecamp Denver welcome to Leslie Harrod.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Let's get right into it. Tell us how your childhood shaped community service, what you're doing today, and tell us what you are doing today.
Thank you, and thank you for that introduction. It's a true honor to be here tonight with you all. Well, my mom was in the Army. She was a single mom, and she was originally from Oakland, California. In her time growing up, Oakland was and still in some cases is, but was a very tough place to grow up. And in that time, you had a lot of race riots and things like that going on right in the city, and it was really tough. So my mom, similar to a lot of black folks growing up in Oakland, had two options of how she could leave the city and kind of create a new life. And one of them was to join the military, and the other one was to join the Black Panthers. And so those were kind of the options of the time, join the Black Panthers or join the military. That's what you get in Oakland. And my mom chose to join the military. And she kind of went on her journey. She went through school, through the military, and became a nurse practitioner, OBGYN. And I was really, that's something that is really inspiring because there's not a lot of folks in our family who were able to do that at that time, who were able to go through college. Although it was something that was instilled in us to have your education, it wasn't easy for my mom, her siblings, and definitely also the folks who came before her. And so growing up and seeing her serving as a single mom on a military base, she was typically one of the highest ranking African-American females on any base that we were. But it was tough for her. It was tough growing up, it was tough raising us alone, working a lot, working full-time, all the time, traveling so much and getting us acquainted to new schools, me and my brother, new experiences, but she did. And I think one of the reasons why I love so much what I do and being here is that she taught me that every community is unique, and different and vibrant and amazing, and I have to go out and find out what that looks like and be a part of it.
You were born in Germany, mom's from Oakland, somehow you got to Colorado. I kind of want to have that appreciation and backdrop and story for how the heck you get to Colorado. Not hard to guess because of the travel and the bouncing around, but how you end up in Colorado and then how you find yourself getting into Colorado politics. What does that look like?
So, one thing that, seeing my mom serve in the military, one thing that I learned was that it's really important to give back to your community and to your country. I chose not to go the military route. My brother is a naval officer, so he did. And most of my cousins actually also went through in the military in some way. But I chose to go a different route and ended up here because my mom got stationed in Colorado Springs at Fort Carson, right? And so I went to see you, and I got on campus, and I remember being there on the first day and looking around, and there were, no African American people in my class. But then when I was walking to class, someone tapped me on the shoulder, African American male, and he said, "You look a little lost. I know what you're looking for. We meet over here at noon." And I was like, awesome. I was like, this is great. I'm gonna go find my home, find my community, much like what you guys are mostly probably here for tonight too, to kind of find your people, right? Your tribe. So I go to the UMC, the student union, and I look around and it's so diverse, right? There's a table with African American students, there's Latino students, Asian students, LGBT, first generation, women, everyone, enviros, everyone kind of coming together and hanging out at lunch. And so we're all just vibing, figuring out who's got what classes and what's going on. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to come here for, was this community, right? And this ability to grow and learn from each other. This community that is being built here around this lunch table is so amazing. Why can't the entire campus feel like this? And so I decided that I was gonna run for office at CU. I decided that the slate was gonna be full of every single person, like an individual from all of those tables, right? And I said, why don't we run a slate why don't we run a slate of all of us and we can talk about these issues together, we can learn and grow together as we go through school. And so that was in my first couple weeks at CU. And I decided that this is the way that I'm going to give back. And we won every single office that we ran for that year. Wow. We took over the student government. And then I quickly learned that we were the largest student government in the nation. And I had to run a $36 million budget, which I did when I became president.
Who gave you your real first break opportunity? Who sponsored you into that first Colorado politics role?
So it's interesting. So, CU, $36 million budget. I graduate, I think, yes, I am gonna be the CEO of Nike, I think. That's what I'm gonna go do. Or maybe I'll start as like VP, right? Because obviously I can't go straight to CEO. Well, so I put out all of these resumes and all these applications, and I didn't get it, right? I didn't get the jobs, and they're like, student government, we don't really get that, but why don't you get some experience first? And one day I just got kind of like sick of it, right? And I was like, I am going to work. I'm gonna work in the field that I went to school for. I have something to give to this world. I'm gonna do it. And so I walked down to the state capitol. I walked in and I asked for the Democrat's office because I knew I was a Democrat. And I said, here's my resume. I can start tomorrow. And it happened to be the speaker's office, and the person who took it was a chief of staff randomly, and looked at my resume, looked at me, and was like, someone must have said, okay, fine, we need someone. You can start tomorrow. So I did. And I started working as an intern in that office, and then an aide, and then just a couple weeks in, this woman walked in who I was enamored by. Her name was Representative Rosemary Marshall. She represented House District 8. And she was this gorgeous, amazing phenom, African-American female, walked in. You know how people walk in the room and there's air about them and you just are kind of stunned and stopped, but you want to know more? That's who she is. She asked me to come work for her 20 hours, and I did. And she gave me the best experience in the building because not only did she trust that I could do the work, and she gave me good work to do, but then she mentored me along the way. And so within months, she decided that I had more that I could offer, and she helped me get a job as a nonpartisan staff, which was my first full-time job with benefits and everything. And it was really funny because I just remember the story where she tells me this later, that they came to her and said, Representative Marshall, we have an issue. We've got 3 slots, and there's 5 people made the finalists. We've got 3 slots, and 2 of them are African-American females. And we don't know which one to pick. What do we do? And she was like, what? You have 3 slots, 2 African-American females. They're both great. Hire them both, right? And I think that we get that a lot, right? They're like, oh, we already have a woman on this panel. We already have this, we already have that. We're fine with 27 white men, but having more than one woman or person of color or person LGBT or disability, that's all we need. That's at the quota. But she pushed through that. And I always remember that because as she blazed this trail for me, I know that I have to blaze it for others. But not only do I have to open the door for one more, that means I can open the door for a lot of people.
I would love anyone in this room who's curious about if they wanted to run for some type of office, even if it's just in Denver or in Colorado, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the first step is if you're thinking about running, make sure you're not running because you think this is a glamorous job, because it's not glamorous. It's an amazing opportunity to be able to serve this community and to be able to serve communities. But I got to tell you, it's a lot of work. You guys know, you're entrepreneurs, you work a lot, but it's not what people think it might be. And so get to know someone who's in office, shadow them, volunteer. I worked on many campaigns, and that's really important to understand what your life is going to be like. Talk to your family, make sure they support you in that effort. But then also know that it's an incredible experience and you can really help shape the lives of so many people and change the lives of so many people. It's very solutions oriented, and it's just a great place to be. And I gotta tell you that women have to be asked, I think it's like 7 times before they run for office. That's ridiculous, right? If you have something to give and you want to run for office, run for office. Do the work and run, because you can win. So, I tell you the story about being, the first African-American LGBT person and how that's not something that typically happens in Colorado politics. Well, I ran, and not only did I run and win, obviously I'm here, I won with the highest vote count in the history of Colorado. Wow. Okay, for any contested race. But that's because I did the work, I built the coalitions, and I'm solutions oriented, but so are you all here. So if you're thinking about running for office, or you think that you could serve your community in that way, be it school board, state house, city council, whatever that looks like, on a board or commission, do it.
What are some great lessons you've learned about yourself and what you can teach to others that may fit one of those categories that the world constantly wants to box us in, but that doesn't really define us? And it's a small piece, but it is a piece. So hopefully you wouldn't mind giving us a share about that.
Yeah, so I'm Black and gay. That's real. That's how it is. And that's a piece of me. And there was a time when being Black and gay meant that you were not going to be a public official, right? In fact, before I won, there was none. There was none in the state of Colorado. And so visibility is important so that other young people or people know that you can be yourself and you can still be whatever you want to be, right? And it's not despite your sexual orientation or your race or your background or your income or whatever that is. It's because of it, right? We are here because of who we are. And those factors are a piece of who we are, right? And some people say like, oh, I'm colorblind. I didn't even notice you were Black. I'm like, really? Come on, you did. And even if you really are colorblind, you can still tell I'm Black. So I say, that's not the way that I want the world to think about me. I want people to see me and understand that there are unique obstacles that I have to go through in life as a Black person, right? As do you as a white person, as do you as a male and a female, and all of us, and that unique experience is what makes us so great, right? So I don't want to hide that piece of me, or I don't want you to not see that. I want you to understand how important that is to me and to who I am.
I want you as a leader to tell us what makes you a great leader, what makes a great leader, and what you've discovered about your own leadership a little bit. I know it's tough.
Yeah, that's a tough question. It is, because it is hard to think about, what am I putting out there, and what type of leader am I? And, I think for one, it's about being authentic. You have to be authentic. And so I try to lead in a way that is authentic to me, and I put my real self out there. But I gotta tell you, my motto is boldly forward, because I believe in being bold, right? And so I am not the one who's gonna kind of shriek to the back when I see something that is not right or when I see something that is right. And so I kind of boldly push forward on a lot of issues, and that's just who I am and how I am. But I tell you that it takes all different kinds of leaders, and I really mean that, because serving in the General Assembly and working with people who all have these titles, right, and who all represent 80,000 people, we don't need everyone to be the bold forward person, or else we're gonna run into each other. And that happens a lot. But there's people who are more in the background, right? And who are the ones who are doing all of the research, or who are really kind of getting into the nitty gritty, and that's really important. And we have leaders who wanna be out in front of everything, and that's really important. And then we have leaders who wanna find the conflict and pull that apart, so that maybe some of our other leaders can go in the middle and bring forward the solutions. And that's important too. And so what I learned in my leadership mostly is that the best I can do sometimes is to listen and to value what everyone brings to the table, because we need all of that.
What does keep climbing mean for you? What keeps you on this journey? What keeps inspiring you to not let up and climb this big bloody mountain of fighting the good fight for people's rights, for people's civility, for people's culture and community and policies, etc.? What is it that fuels you? What does keep climbing mean for you?
Well, for me, keep climbing. I love that motto, right? I love that, because that is what we do every day, right? I remember when I wake up that every day is a new day. I try not to let any of the failures or the incompleteness of the day before weigh me down. And I say, what can I get done today? How can I keep climbing? How can I keep persevering? Because we have to do that, right? We can't let ourselves get too bogged down in yesterday and forget what we're looking for tomorrow, right? And so for me, what keeps me going is, I gotta tell you, it's these little faces of these kids that I see running around the Capitol every day, because they're like touring my workplace, which is odd, right? Like, it's very odd. But I see them, and I see them look up or hear me speak at the well or see me down, and they say, wow, like one day I could run for office. One day I could do that. And every time I see those faces and how their eyes light up when they realize, like, that's a representative, it makes me want to do this work more. And so find what gives you your spark, what gives you that kind of, I got to keep going, and then kind of go back to it as much as possible, right?
Listen, this was another amazing, badass Basecamp. Thank you for joining us.
It was really fun to talk to everybody. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.